What's up, guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. I've got a very eerie breaking news story to share with you guys today. Why are birds falling dead from the sky in South New Jersey? A new article was recently posted, and this was sent over to me on Twitter from Philly.com, posted December 27th. And yet again, we are having another instance, another event, as they've been called in the past, of, entire flocks, hundreds, thousands of birds dropping dead, falling out of the sky with no apparent cause. So I'll just read you some of this article here. Shiloh, New Jersey. Weather-wise, it had been a fairly typical November day, 2 days before Thanksgiving in the western Cumberland County agricultural community of Stowe Creek Township. Mostly sunny, with a bit of a nip in the air. Then, all of a sudden, it was raining dead birds. And by the time the brief shower was over, as many as 200 red-winged blackbirds littered the ground in a small housing development off Frank Davis Road, surrounded by vast farm fields. Larry Hanna, who is a spokesman for the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, said, quote, "They just fell from the sky." It was the second time in less than 3 weeks that a die-off of blackbirds had occurred in the same rural neighborhood. The first time, a couple of dozen dead birds were found. A similar incident had happened in a North New Jersey farming area earlier in the year. So after agricultural agents had been notified by homeowners, the DEP's Division of Fish and Wildlife arrived in Stowe Creek and removed the birds, collecting some of them to be sent to a state lab for necropsy, toxicology, and histopathology tests. However, the results of all of these tests were, get this, inconclusive. Mr. Hanna is quoted as saying, "We did ascertain that the birds suffered trauma and internal bleeding from hitting the ground, but what made them fall from the sky in the first place, we can't say for certain." So then they looked into the nearby farmers' fields and collected some samples to test for chemical compounds. We're talking about pesticides that are used to treat the seed in these fields. And they found that none of these compounds were considered to be harmful to birds, and none of the chemicals were found to be among those that are sometimes used by farmers to control a nuisance species like birds. So pesticides are out. Toxicology reports, inconclusive. Cause of death, unknown. And how many times have we seen this happen in the past? In 1998, there were over 10,000 birds that rained down from the sky and died on the fields of Minnesota and Iowa. We've had mass fish die-offs. We even recently did a video about this huge group of 300 to 400 reindeer that were all found dead, said to have been struck by lightning. However, the reindeer had no signs that they had been struck, and some of them had even had their heads removed. 300 to 400 reindeer. If you guys don't remember that video, if you're new to the channel, I'll put a link to it down in the video description. It's very, very creepy. So again, Mr. Hanna from the DEP stated that we've determined that the deaths were not caused by pesticides, commonly known to be toxic to wildlife. The residents, the local residents who've actually witnessed these birds falling dead from the sky, are extremely worried about what the cause was, and I can understand why. This always tends to freak people out, and when it happens in your neighborhood, you'll understand. One area resident by the name of Debbie Hitchner, 32, said, and I quote, "Out in the country like this, you find dead stuff lying around all the time, but this was kind of weird." She said that my dog just kept on finding them and finding them and finding them, one after the other. So, if you're not up to speed on this, these mass bird die-offs, especially birds, have been ramping up in recent years. Most of them are completely unexplained. Now, sometimes we've seen flocks of birds that have maybe gotten caught in a terrible winter storm. They get disoriented, and sometimes you'll find these groups dead. But in many of these instances, you have warm, sunny, clear weather. You have no obstructions that would have been up in the sky to hit them, at least no obstructions that were visible to anyone looking. There have been countless conspiracy theories as to what could be causing these deaths. Everything from potential dimensional wormholes opening up in the sky, somehow disorienting and killing these birds dead in an instant. Others have said that these are UFOs, that there's something up in the sky that's cloaked that we're unable to see. And this is the theory that I tend to agree with, because in many of these cases, many of these birds have been found with blunt force trauma, as if they had run smack into something that was sitting stationary in the sky, and will have this blunt force trauma that they incurred before hitting the ground. And I'm talking about these dead birds, many of which were maybe found in bushes or leaf piles, or that basically landed in something soft when they finally hit the ground. I'm talking about the birds that didn't hit concrete or the bare ground. I'm talking about things that broke these dead birds' falls, that wouldn't have incurred any sort of damage. And yet, even these birds have this blunt force trauma, like they ran straight into something that they couldn't see up in the sky. And how many times have we posted videos featuring photographs or video footage that show what almost looks like the outline of something, some sort of structure or object that is sitting up in the clouds. And the only reason that you're able to see it because the cloud cover actually indirectly reveals it slightly. You see the outline of these things. But to the human eye, they're invisible. Scientists can't explain the bird deaths. And yet again, we have another mass die-off unexplained, freaking out the neighborhood residents, creeping out the people who are investigating it. And, of course, we know all of the tales of the alien mutilations, the mutilation of livestock, cows, horses, you name it. We've done videos on this in the past. It all links together. When you really start putting the puzzle pieces together, you start to see some strange things. Things that just don't add up. Things like this. Just last year, we had a mass death of seabirds in the western U.S. that was quoted as unprecedented. From California to Canada, dead seabirds, all up and down the coast. Beaches were shut down because there were so many, and they had to be cleaned up. So, yeah, very, very strange stuff. I'll link to the article here down below, as well as some other articles about these strange bird deaths. Let me know what you guys think, and if any of you are near this town in South Jersey, maybe you can give us some insight. Maybe you've seen something or can at least give us your personal experience. So if you have, don't hesitate to leave it down in the comments below. Be sure to share this video. Throw me a like on the way out. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned because I've got a lot more coming, and I'll see you all back here in just a bit. Stay safe, guys.